In the HPLC capsaicin lab, you will have samples. Typically you'll have a pepper sample and maybe some type of hot sauce. With the pepper sample, one of the things that you need to do is cut your pepper up with a knife that is not very sharp, and then you can add that to a container, one like this or one like this, depending upon the amount of pepper that you have. You will then put that on the blender and grind it up. Before you do that, be sure to add the appropriate amount of HPLC methanol, not eluent, and make sure you have the correct amount of internal standard in there. In the capsaicin lab, there are two types of reagents that are used. One is methanol and one is HPLC eluent. The methanol that we're using is HPLC grade, but it is 100% methanol. The eluent is 80% methanol, 20% water. Make sure you read the instructions carefully to make sure you're using methanol when you're supposed to be using methanol, and the 80% eluent, HPLC eluent when the eluent is needed. If you have a pepper sample, as I explained before, you'll use the blender. If you have a hot sauce, less work is needed. Instead, you can add the appropriate amount of hot sauce with the appropriate amount of methanol, HPLC grade methanol, not eluent, and add the internal standard. After you have blended your sample, whether it be a pepper or hot sauce, next thing you need to do is filter your sample. So you can fold the paper appropriately, add your sample in there, and then collect it in a volumetric flask. Be sure to read the instructions appropriately so that you add the correct solution when rinsing. After filtering the samples, be sure to collect a small aliquot to be used as your original filtrate. The next step is to use solid phase extraction. This is the solid phase extraction tube. You can usually get those on the back bench. And the first thing you have to do is condition it as described in the manual. Next, you'll run your filtered sample in here, and the idea is the capsaicins will collect on the solid phase extraction tube. Doing this, be sure to have a trap so that water does not end up in the filtrate. When you are done with this, the solution here will be to collect a small amount of this filtrate, and that will be your breakthrough check. And you will then take your solid phase extraction tube to be used later to collect the capsaicins off of it.